Hello guys, and welcome to the build of my 1/72 scale Bandai X-Wing Starfighter. This will be the second scale model that I have ever built, and I'm really looking forward to getting on with it. So as the title suggests, I'm a complete beginner at this and cut my teeth on the Bandai 1/72 scale Y-Wing Starfighter not long ago actually. So that was my first build and I'm still learning as I go. So on with the build then. Having emptied the contents of the box and had a quick look through the instructions, the first thing I did was to take all the parts to the sink and give them a good scrub with a toothbrush in soapy water. I then swirled them off and dried them thoroughly, ready for the build. Now steps 1 and 2 of the instruction booklet, they tell me to build the wings, both wings and the engines, the 4 engines there. And I know for a fact that I'll want to paint some of the parts a different colour to the rest of the body. And if I put all this together and snap it in place or glue bits on, then those parts will be really hard to get to. So what I'm doing here is just quickly putting the wings together, but not fully together, just so I can identify which parts I want to separate and paint separately from the rest of the body. So these turbines here, these 2 turbines, I'll definitely want to be painting them a gloss black. I want the black to really shine through on the whitey grey sort of outer enclosure on the engines. And I might also put a little bit of black on the gun emplacements at the back there. And also in the thrusters on the other side, I'll also want to darken those down. So now I know where I stand with it all. I quickly put the other wing together, but this time I either glued together or snapped together the parts that I know I won't need to take off again. But I leave the parts loose that I want to paint separately, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to make things easier for myself so I don't get stuck later on in the build. Okay, so here's the wings all primed up and ready to be painted. And you can see I've left those covers off there so I can get at the turbines and paint them black. Now I will use the colour guides to paint this model, but I'll be doing a little bit of a custom job. I'll paint it how I think, I want to paint it, not how it really should be painted, but how I want to paint it. And I've mixed my own body colour up here, using some flat white, some light grey and a little bit of black as well. The ratio I used for the colour was 90% flat white, 10% light grey, and then just a splash of black. I mean, the littlest, tiniest amount of black, which came out just the right colour. It doesn't look too different from the primer, but it is a little bit lighter, and I'm really happy with it. A lovely job, if I do say so myself. You'll also see that I've painted the thrusters there, the shiny gloss black, I think it's XF1 Tamiya acrylic paint, and I painted the turbines in there as well and popped the covers back on. I think it looks really nice, and I like the way the light shines off the black. Now I've been watching builds of these models, and I think, unless I'm mistaken, most of the builds paint the back of these thrusters a matte black colour, but I wanted mine to be a little bit lighter than black, so I've gone for a dark grey here. Now my painting skills leave a hell of a lot to be desired, my shaky hands and my really bad eyesight, so I just do the best I can here. I suppose I could have masked it and sprayed it, but I didn't want to get any of the grey paint inside the thrusters onto the black, so I thought this was the best way of doing it. And to be honest, once I'd finished and cleaned all the mess I'd made around the edges up afterwards, it didn't look too bad at all. And of course, when I get onto the weathering, I can blend it in a little bit more as well. Now there is a decal, or there are decals in the set that you can use to put around the edge of these engines. But I wanted to have a go at masking up and painting. I'd never done it before, so I thought this was an ideal opportunity to try it. And I've got to be honest with you, it didn't go 100% to plan. I don't think I waited long enough for the paint to dry before I took the masking tape off, and I had a little bit of bleed into the other areas. So once this was all done, you know, I spent a lot of time cleaning up afterwards and trying to make the edges a little bit better. But at the end of the day, when it was all done, ta-da! It doesn't look too bad at all. I absolutely love it. So that's the wings built as far as I can, and it's time to move on to the cockpit, which I'll do in part 2. So I hope you like this video. If you did, then please subscribe and stay tuned for part 2, which is coming very soon. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.